So why is everyone sending warships to the Philippines? Well, we're here to find out. And honestly, there's a lot going on. So without further ado, come join me. Let's go.
Waters around the Philippines are no longer calm. They are now watched by the world. Day after day, more and more warships are sailing into the region. You see American destroyers, Japanese vessels, Australian fleets, and even ships from Europe. All of them are heading toward one place. The Philippines has suddenly become the center of attention, and the reason is bigger than most people realize. For many years, the Philippines was known for its beauty and culture. Tourists came to the islands. Workers were celebrated around the world for their skills and their spirit. The country was not seen as a key player in global security, but now things are different. The Philippines has moved from the background to the front line of one of the most important issues in the world. At the heart of this issue is the South China Sea. This sea is not just water. It is the highway of the global economy. Trillions of dollars worth of goods move through it every single year.
Yeah, they pass through the in-between where Japan is and the Philippines is. Correct me if I'm wrong. They pass through there to be able to go to China and everything like that. But I think now what's going on is China wants now that area, to own that area. And obviously the Philippines is not just going to be like, oh, here you go. And they're not going to be bribed either, because clearly that didn't work. And I feel like that's a lot of the problem with the world sometimes, is like they think that just giving you money or throwing money at it is going to cause the person to be like, oh, okay. That's not always what it is, and the Philippines is showing that as well.
Energy, food, technology, and raw materials all depend on safe passage across this route. Whoever controls this sea has influence over the lifeline of the world economy, and right in the middle of it is the Philippines, standing at a point that no nation can ignore. But the story goes deeper. Beneath the waters are huge reserves of oil and natural gas that could supply energy for decades.
Yeah, that too.
These seas are also home to rich fishing grounds that feed millions of people. Control over this area means control over food, energy, and money.
And dude, that's where the Philippines gets its food, right? Because I know that the Philippines, they eat a lot of like beef in the diet, like when I went to the Philippines, but there's so many parts of the Philippines, like certain areas, like specifically island areas as well, as so many delicious fish kind of meals. And I think that's a scary thing too. Like, besides all the territory stuff, besides all that, when you start controlling food on an area, that can be very dangerous. You can create even more extreme poverty. Just like, it's one of those scary things. Like, bro, you own an area where food supplies go to these people. That is a very scary thing to even think about. So, I mean, this is exactly why they won't just give it up either. It's something that it needs to be stayed put like the way it is now. But of course, it's always more. It's always more. It's always more.
That is why the South China Sea has become one of the most contested regions on Earth. And that is why warships are now appearing around the Philippines. At the center of the tension is China. Over the years, it has claimed almost the entire South China Sea. It has built artificial islands and turned them into heavily armed bases. Even though international courts have ruled against these claims, China continues to press forward. This puts smaller countries like the Philippines directly in its path. And that is where the risk of conflict grows. The Philippines is not alone. The United States has promised to defend it through a long-standing treaty. Japan, South Korea, and Australia have joined in because their trade routes also depend on these waters. Even countries as far as the United Kingdom, France, and Canada have sent ships to show that freedom of navigation must be protected. The presence of these navies is a message to the world. It says the Philippines will not be left to face this threat alone. So why is everyone sending warships to the Philippines? Because the Philippines has become the key to peace, trade, and security in Asia.
As well as I feel like the Philippines is a very, very like neutral country. They're not just only going to be heavily like, hey, we hate this and we hate that. I from what I've seen when going to the Philippines, a lot of people are just very welcoming of everybody. And so that includes, I would assume, when it comes to other things as well, they're very neutral. Like, hey, we're just trying to get to what we want to do, and that's it. But I feel like other countries sometimes, like the people as well, can be very, very like strict with what exactly they want. And I feel the Philippines is very, very more so like loose about it. And that can be a very, very good thing, but can also end up being a bad thing in the sense that, you know, they're going to try to abuse that from the Philippines, right? China tried to bribe, they try to do these things. And then, you know, the Philippines is getting almost attacked, right? And there's like videos of them being sprayed with like these super, by the way, these are crazy, dog, like actual hoses sprayed at them. You know how hard those hoses hit? It's crazy. It's like the strength of a firefighter hose, like hitting them. And it's, dude, if you haven't seen that video, you guys should, but that's the thing. And I feel like United States and Japan and all of them are seeing that. And obviously they are siding with the Philippines as well because they're, you know, I'm pretty sure they are on a treaty with the Philippines as well. But they see that and they're obviously going to help the Philippines, especially since it's not in the lines for China to do this anyways, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the thing about it, dude.
Before we go deeper, make sure to like this video and subscribe so you can stay updated on the growing role of the Philippines in global affairs. And here is something to think about. If tensions ever turn into a real war, which countries would back the Philippines and which ones would side with China? We already explained this in a full video and you can find the link in the description. Now let's begin.
The South China Sea dispute.
The South China Sea is not just a body of water. It is one of the most important regions on Earth. Every year, around 1/3 of the world's trade passes through it. That means if these waters are blocked, the global economy would feel the shock immediately. Tankers carrying oil from the Middle East, ships loaded with food, and vessels filled with electronics all move through this narrow stretch of sea.
Yep.
Without it, factories would stop, markets would collapse, and entire countries would face shortages. This is why so many nations care about what happens here. But the problem is that China has claimed almost the entire area as its own. It uses what is called the 9-dash line, a claim that stretches thousands of kilometers and covers waters that also belong to the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, and other neighbors.
Oh my goodness,
In 2016, the International Court ruled that China's claims had no legal basis. Yet, China ignored the decision and kept...
Why? Why do that? I feel like this always happens, and I feel like it's not only just per se China. Like, I feel like other places have done this too. And I feel like that is the scary thing, is like when people start surpassing that boundary, the boundary is you can't do that. They're like, what if I just did it anyways? Why? Why, bro? Just
building artificial islands, turning them into military bases with runways, radar systems, and missiles. For the Philippines, this is more than just a legal battle. It is about fishing rights, energy resources, and the safety of its people. Fishermen have been blocked, harassed, and sometimes chased out of waters that...
The hose thing. Dude, imagine experiencing something like that. You know what I mean? Like, imagine one of your family members, bro. You go to work, you go to do this. You know, there's this heated tension, and then you get sprayed, attacked by them. Like, why? Like, you know what I mean? It's like one of those things that's just like so ruthless, bro.
Legally belong to them. Energy exploration projects have been delayed because of Chinese pressure. Every move by China challenges the sovereignty of the Philippines. This dispute is not only a regional issue, it is a global one. If one country can control these waters by force, then the idea of freedom of navigation is threatened everywhere. That is why allies of the Philippines have stepped in, sending their ships to make sure that the sea remains open. The South China Sea has become the front line of a struggle between international law and raw power, and the Philippines is caught right in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
As tensions rise in the South China Sea, one country has made its presence strongly felt.
They instantly showed up.
That is the United States. For decades, the U.S. has been a close ally of the Philippines, and their military partnership goes back to World War II. Today, this relationship is becoming more important than ever. The U.S. has defense agreements with the Philippines, which means if the Philippines is attacked, America is obligated to respond. This is why American ships and aircraft are seen more frequently in the region. They are not just passing through, they are showing commitment to keep the sea lanes open and to...
Yo, so that's what I was saying about the treaty, right? So there is a treaty between them. And by the way, on my movie channel, I watched Genero Luna, and before, the America had a disagreement with the Philippines. Now everything's like obviously changed. Like that was back then and all that. But that was an incredible story. If you want to watch that, me react to that movie was insane. Regardless, what I learned from that is obviously there was so many like disputes that happen in the past that obviously over time you grow and you change, and then you develop as a country, and then you start to be friends with another country that you probably wouldn't have expected back then. And I think that is the coolest thing. And it's cool to see that, sticking by the treaty, sticking by what is said in the law, being like, hey, if they attack, we're going to help you, period. There is no doubt about it. And to me, that is a crazy thing. It's an incredible thing, honestly.
Stand by their ally. Recently, the U.S. and the Philippines expanded their security pact, allowing American forces access to more Philippine bases.
Yeah.
This is not about building permanent bases, but about rotational presence, training, and quick response if a crisis happens.
Yep.
For the Philippines, this provides an extra layer of protection. For the U.S., it ensures they remain a balancing force in Asia. American warships regularly conduct what are called freedom of navigation operations. These missions challenge China's claims by sailing through waters that international law says are open to everyone. Each time this happens, it sends a message that no single country can close off such a vital route. The U.S. presence does not only mean ships and planes, it also means joint exercises, military training, disaster response cooperation, and intelligence sharing. All of these strengthen the Philippine military, which is still modernizing. In short, the U.S. acts as both a shield and a partner, reminding the world that the Philippines is not standing alone.
Oh yeah, Japan as well. They're coming in South Korea.
The United States may be the Philippines' oldest defense partner, but it is not acting alone. Two of Asia's strongest economies and militaries, Japan and South Korea, are also stepping in. Their involvement adds even more weight to the growing presence around the Philippines. Japan has transformed its defense posture in recent years. Once limited by its pacifist constitution, it is now building one of the most advanced navies in the world. Japan has already donated Coast Guard ships and radar systems to the Philippines, boosting its ability to patrol its waters. Recently, Japanese forces have joined joint naval exercises, sailing side by side with both Philippine and American ships. This shows Japan is ready to stand firm for freedom of navigation and regional stability. South Korea, too, has become a valuable security partner. It has provided the Philippines with modern fighter jets, naval vessels, and military training. South Korea shares its own experience of living under constant threat from its northern neighbor, and this makes its support for the Philippines even more meaningful.
Yo, and that's the craziest thing about Korea. They still have to deal with that, but they're still going to, follow the treaty or still be willing to help the Philippines, even with, tension probably going in internally as well. And I find that to be a really, really dope thing, because a lot of the time when you follow, by law, what it says in a treaty, or you just want to help, things can go smoothly. But with China, they didn't choose to follow the law. People said, yo, you're out of bounds trying to do this, by the way. This is not part of like what is said for you to do. And they just decide to do it anyways. And this is what causes problems. I feel like that's the thing, is like you shouldn't be doing that. If it just says don't do it, I feel like it's like kind of like those little kids kind of thing. Like little kids, yo, don't jump over the fence. The kids jump over the fence anyways. This is how they learn. I guess it's going to be like a learning curve, I guess, because it's like they said don't do it. And now everybody's helping the Philippines like, yo, I don't do this. Don't you dare do this, because then we're all here to help the Philippines. This is kind of like one of those situations.
Like Japan, South Korea also participates in military drills in the region, proving that it sees the South China Sea as vital to its own security and trade.
Yeah, that
Together,
as well.
Japan and South Korea are not only supporting the Philippines, but also signaling to China that it is facing a united front. These countries depend heavily on the shipping lanes that pass through Philippine waters, and they cannot afford to let one power dominate them. Their cooperation shows that defending the Philippines is also about defending Asia's future. The Philippines is not only gaining support from its Asian neighbors, The momentum has now stretched far beyond the region, with Australia and even European powers stepping into the picture. Their involvement proves that the situation in the Philippines is no longer just a local matter, but a global concern. Australia has long been one of the Philippines' closest security partners. Both countries share deep defense ties under the regional alliances built with the United States. In recent years, Australia has sent warships and aircraft to join patrols in the South China Sea. It has also increased military training exercises with Filipino forces, making sure they can work seamlessly together in real-world situations.
That is an important thing, too.
Australia understands that if freedom of the seas is threatened in Asia, it will eventually affect its own security and trade routes.
It would affect almost everything. I feel like that's why everybody also is joining. Not only is there probably a treaty, like I mentioned, but I guarantee some of you guys might correct me on that and say like, oh no, it's also because it will affect them. I mean, yeah, think about that. Like one place controlling all of one of the most important parts, especially like China being like in control of all of that. It's too much. It's giving too much. And it really is just controlling almost everything where everyone's trading. It's very, very dangerous. It's just one of those things.
What makes this even more significant is the arrival of European powers. Nations like France, Germany, and the United Kingdom have started sending their naval ships to sail through the same contested waters. These are not symbolic visits. They are a clear statement that Europe, too, sees the South China Sea as critical to global stability. France, for example, has territories in the Pacific and considers itself a Pacific power. The United Kingdom has deployed its aircraft carriers alongside allies, showing that even countries from the other side of the world are willing to defend international law. By joining these operations, Australia and Europe send a powerful message. The Philippines is not standing alone, and the world is paying close attention. The presence of warships from half a world away tells China that its actions in the region are being watched by more than just its neighbors. It is a sign that the defense of the Philippines is connected to the defense of global order.
Oh my gosh, they're upgrading too. I forgot about
All this international support would not be complete without the Philippines itself stepping up. Alongside foreign allies sending warships, the Philippines has been quietly upgrading its own military. This shift marks a new era where the country is no longer only depending on others, but is taking real steps to strengthen its defense. For many years, the Philippine armed forces were seen as underfunded and under-equipped compared to its neighbors. But today, that is changing. Billions of pesos are now being invested in modern warships, fighter jets, submarines, and advanced radar systems. The Philippines has also been improving its Coast Guard, giving it more power to patrol the waters and protect fishermen in disputed areas.
And also, the United States is giving some things to help with the upgrades as well, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I did remember seeing something about that as well. They are giving some of the equipment that the Philippines doesn't have for them to be able to upgrade and obviously pay for it, like certain jets, things like that.
What makes this upgrade even more important is how it connects with allied forces. New bases and facilities are being built that can host American, Japanese, and Australian troops during joint exercises.
Oh my gosh, they're eating on all that. Yo, that's actually crazy. You guys have told me about this too. Like everybody eats around. Dude, this is a beautiful Philippines thing, by the way. Like off topic basically, but they eat it and this is like on a leaf kind of thing, right? And all the food is there and everyone shares.
Exercises.
That looks
Every
awesome.
year, the scale of these drills grows larger, training Filipino soldiers to handle high-tech equipment and coordinate with international navies. This new push for modernization shows that the Philippines is not just relying on others to protect it. It is building a credible defense of its own. And when combined with the support of allies, it creates a strong signal to the world that the Philippines is serious about protecting its sovereignty.
Oh, yeah.
But behind all of these upgrades and alliances stands the main reason warships are gathering in Philippine waters, and that is China. Over the past decade, China has rapidly expanded its presence in the South China Sea. building artificial islands, installing runways, and deploying military equipment. What used to be open sea is now covered with bases that extend China's reach far beyond its own coastline. For the Philippines, this expansion is more than a distant issue.
So are they saying when they say artificial...
Chinese Coast Guard ships regularly...
Imagine how horrifying this would be if you were there just watching a ship come at you and attack you like this. This is just terrifying. But what I was saying, right, is like these artificial islands that China is building, are they just saying like, oh, it's just a nice vacation island, don't worry about it? But it's like actually like they're lying, and it's actually just a place full of like warships and things like that to attack. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. And then the fact that a lot of people know that it is that, and they still try to like say that it isn't. I mean, that's just crazy.
Enter waters claimed by the Philippines, sometimes blocking fishermen and even shadowing Philippine vessels. Each of these actions adds more tension to an already fragile situation. It is not simply a question of disputed territory. It is about control of one of the world's most important trade routes. China argues that most of the South China Sea belongs to it, even though international courts have rejected those claims. The Philippines, backed by global law, continues to assert its rights. This constant clash of views has turned the Philippines into the front line of a much larger power struggle. The China factor is what makes every allied warship in the region carry greater meaning. These deployments are not just friendly visits. They are signals that the world is watching closely and that no single country can claim the sea for itself.
The Filipino perspective.
Filipinos, this situation is not only about ships and bases. It is about their daily lives, their security, and their future. When Chinese vessels block local fishermen, families lose their income. When tensions rise in the South China Sea, people worry about the possibility of conflict near their shores. The issue is not far away. It touches the livelihood of ordinary citizens.
And I think that's the worst part about stuff like this, is because when there's people on a bigger level, like a president or an entire country that has billions of dollars, back behind them, they forget about the people, right? These people aren't just walking around with billions of dollars. We are not walking around with billions of dollars. So these decisions need to be carefully evaluated. And I think that that's the problem, is like they're not thinking about the people. They're just thinking about, hey, I want to own this part, and then I'm just going to, be really like rude. I want to say really rude, but they're just full on, you know what I mean? Like assaulting the fishermen. They're just trying to do their job, but they're just assaulting them for this quote unquote bigger picture of owning the whole thing. But then you're just ruining livelihoods of innocent people. And that's the thing, is like it always happens. Like people are just thinking on a bigger level, the people who are on these like very high levels, like presidents and things like that. And they're not realizing that when you really like zoom in with a microscope, there's so many people getting affected by that you have to pay attention. Like they aren't paying attention clearly because of the way that they're acting and treating fishermen in the Philippines. Like this is just, dude, people are losing their jobs, like he's saying. And that's just messed up, bro. Like y'all are thinking in billions of dollars. Then there's people just trying to live their lives and feed their family. Like that always happens. And I've witnessed it firsthand, whether it be in Brazil or even here in the United States. Like things like that can happen and they always forget. You know what I mean? It's like the bigger hand above everybody, like you're just forgetting.
Same time, many Filipinos feel a sense of pride seeing their country supported by powerful allies. The arrival of American, Japanese, and Australian warships sends a message that the Philippines is not standing alone.
Dude, and that's a beautiful thing. That must feel very, very uplifting for you guys, because imagine like feeling alone in this situation, and then boom, here comes France, here comes United States, here comes Japan, everybody being like, yo, we got you, because this is not going to happen. This is not allowed.
Nation that has long defended its independence, this support strengthens both confidence and unity.
Exactly.
Still, there are mixed emotions. Some welcome the stronger foreign presence, while others fear being caught between great powers. Filipinos want peace above all, but they also want their country's rights and dignity to be respected.
Yeah, exactly.
This balance between security, sovereignty, and stability is what makes their perspective so important in understanding why the Philippines matters to the world today.
what this means for the future.
Looking ahead, the Philippines finds itself at the center of one of the most important challenges of our time. The gathering of warships shows that the world is preparing for a future where control of the seas will shape trade, security, and even peace itself. For Filipinos, this moment is both a warning and an opportunity. If handled wisely, the presence of allies can strengthen the country's defenses, attract more investment, and give ordinary citizens greater protection.
Yeah.
But if tensions continue to grow, the Philippines could face pressure from both sides of a global rivalry. The decisions made today will decide whether the seas become a bridge for cooperation or a line of conflict. For the rest of the world, what happens in Philippine waters will not remain local. It will influence global trade, international law, and the balance of power in Asia. That is why so many nations are watching closely, because the Philippines now stands at the front line of the future.
Yeah.
As we return to the question of why so many warships are being sent to the Philippines, the answer is clear. This small nation has become a focal point of global attention, not only because of its location, but because of what it represents. The Philippines is now the meeting ground of powerful countries, each with its own interests, but all recognizing its importance.
Yeah.
For Filipinos, this moment highlights both the challenges and the pride of living in a land that the world cannot ignore. It shows that their country holds a key role in shaping the future of Asia and even the wider world.
Yeah.
Whether it leads to greater peace or greater conflict will depend on the choices made in the years ahead.
Yeah, this video said a lot, man. I feel like there's so many things going on, but there is a lot that I feel like is going to happen that is right in terms of everyone else coming to help the Philippines. And like the guy was saying, there is like some people who have mixed feelings about it. And obviously you guys can tell me your feelings about it down below, but I think that it is crucial for this to happen because every country shouldn't have to fight alone regardless for something that, you know, is happening that isn't right, period. Point blank. Even if it's United States, have everybody else, because if everyone believes, oh, you say that because United States is powerful, this and that. You know, I come from Brazil, man. So, you know, things like this, when it happens, people forget that having help doesn't mean that you're just weak. It just means that, yo, this isn't right. People are on your side. Point blank, period. And I guarantee, yeah, there's a lot more to it. But from what I've seen, man, yeah, everybody's here to help. And this is the stuff that I enjoy seeing when it comes to, you know, doing the right thing. And I think that the Philippines deserves that, the most respect, especially considering that, you know, they're stepping out of bounds. The Chinese are stepping out of bounds when it comes to this. I shouldn't even say the Chinese, just China itself wanting to control this area, because then again, you don't know if the people even want that. I guarantee a lot of them don't probably want that, but there's so many little things to it. But thank you guys for linking this over, and thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Hey, if you liked it, leave a like. If you loved it, subscribe. If you want more, please let me know down in the comments below. And yeah, till next time, guys. Yeah. Peace. Look. How good you been living? Wait, how good you been living? I've been living too good for you. I've been living too. Did what I did and I do it again. Every move that I make, I ain't feeling repent. Nobody believes to believe it's a friend, and you question your moves like you really want it.